can, I will, I shall. The grind never sleeps. I can, I will, I shall, because the grind never sleeps.
What's good, my good people? What's good? You already know what it is. Real Talk Radio with your host, G. We've been a couple months into this, podcasting scene, and I won't lie, I am thoroughly enjoying it. You already know what it is. Real Talk Radio with your host, G.
On this episode of Relationship Rehab Friday.
The key to relationships. Now, each person has a lock and a key. So the lock protects you and your personal life, and the key is what you use to enter other people's lives, right? From my understanding, that's the same in relationships. You can't just let anyone into your life, or it has to have the right bumps in the right places to be able to unlock a door. People, this is again my perspective, value what's behind the door. That's you, that's your life. Not everyone that makes you laugh or everyone that interests you is good to be in a relationship with. We are doing everything that one would do when they're in a relationship while we're still dating. Maybe we've been doing it all wrong. A part of you is left within that failed relationship. A part of you that you can never get back. A part of you that you should never get back. That relationship was doomed for failure from the beginning, because something can feel so good but be so wrong. But it's just like that key that goes into the lock and it turns, it doesn't actually unlock the door. I always say, people who know me know I always say, I'm old school,
So I guess we can just jump straight into it and unlock the topic of the lock and keys.
What's good? You already know what it is. Real Talk Radio with your host, G. And we're back for another episode. Actually, the first episode. Let me not say another episode. I say that a lot. But we're here for the first episode of Relationship Rehab Friday, Season 2, Real Talk Radio. You know what it is. Out here doing the damn things that need to be done. And to kickstart the season with Relationship Rehab Fridays, I am joined by a young gentleman by the name of Libo Mngomezulu. And he just comes on to, share his views and perspectives around a relationship. And he does that by, presenting a very interesting analogy of the lock and the key. And, he just delves deeper into what that means. And just to give you a brief background, it just stems from this book that he's trying to write called The Key to Relationships. And he just really comes on to steal my spotlight, if I may say so, because he speaks a whole lot more than I do. You will not hear my voice, good people. You will not hear my voice because this man goes on and on and on. But luckily for you guys, he does not ramble nearly half as much as I do. Very coherent and articulate months. And he just comes here to, share a good message and the good word. So I've broken this particular episode into two parts, part 1 and part 2. Today we'll have part 1 and next week we'll have part 2, because he has quite a bit to say and quite a very interesting perspective of relationships, just, for the good people, you guys, to just, zone in and be in tune with. So please do stay tuned for part 1 of the lock and key, as Libo just comes to, share his good perspective on what's going down in the ville of, relationships.
Okay, so welcome, Libo, and thank you for joining me on this episode of Relationship Rehab Friday. May you please give us a brief introduction and background of yourself.
Yeah, so thank you for having me. Phew, I don't know what to say. Hey, so igama Libo Mngomezulu. I come from a small township. Yasemtubatuba Kwamsane. I'm 22 years old. I'm currently a student at the University of KwaZulu Natal, studying Bachelor of Commerce, majoring in supply chain and marketing. Yeah, so that's about it. I'm a very passionate person who loves to write and speak in their spare time.
Okay, no, sweet, sweet, sweet. Thank you for that introduction. So I guess we can just jump straight into it and unlock the topic of the lock and key. So can you just give us a briefing of what inspired the title?
Um, what inspired the title of this podcast is basically the title of the book that I'm currently writing. The book is titled The Key to Relationships. So,
Mm,
yeah, so the book is just using the analogy of keys, locks, doors, and so forth. So, when I thought about this podcast in particular, I just thought about one of the chapters. Um, or sections in my book which speaks on the lock and key.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I don't know if
Okay.
you want me to go
Yeah,
into
what
it. Yeah.
is, yeah, sure. Like, what is the lock and the key?
So basically, as I mentioned, the book is titled "The Key to Relationships," and the lock and key is sort of like an analogy, and it stands for the lock being the passageway or the things uh, that has enclosed your life, and your key
Mm-hmm.
being characteristics and traits that you have as a person. Now, each person has a lock and a key. So the lock protects you and your personal life, and the key is what you use to enter other people's lives, right? So when I
Mm-hmm.
was using this analogy, I was sort of saying that for people to be able to enter your life, they need to unlock your lock. And for you
Mm,
to be able to enter other people's life, you obviously have to unlock their locks using your key. Therefore, the
okay.
title, yeah, the lock and the key.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, just to jump straight into it, as I've mentioned earlier, um, the analogy that's being used. So as I was going through, experiences, my own personal experiences. I'm still quite young, so there's not a vast number of experiences, but basically stories also from other people. I started to like
Mm,
compile this whole book. It started off as just thoughts I'd share with people, and people were like, "No, just write it down, and make a book." So I decided to write a book. Before I even go further, I just have to make people aware that this book is not like a how to build a healthy relationship or anything like that. It's just the perspective of me, and
mm,
I don't know everything in the world. I don't have the answers to every question, but I'm just trying to make sense of something using
yeah.
my personal experience and other people's experiences, just to give people some perspective. So to jump straight into it, the lock, the key. So basically, to build a safe, healthy relationship, one has to be able to open their partner's lock, which means enter their partner's life using their characteristics and traits, ideas, ideologies, and their beliefs,
Mm,
while their partner has to be able to obviously unlock their locks,
yeah.
and yeah, there's a lot of things that are involved with this whole lock and key thing. So, but what we need to understand is that not just any key can open any lock. Specific locks are designed with specific keys that can open them, and
Mm,
from my understanding, that's the same in relationships. You can't just let anyone into your life, or not anyone can fully open you up. You know what I'm saying? So
mm,
maybe that might be the limiting factor to building a healthy relationship, that you can't enter each other's lives as you should be in to sort of facilitate this good and healthy relationship.
Yeah.
Now, I'll start with the key, obviously the characteristics and everything. Not everyone that makes you laugh or everyone that interests you is good to be in a relationship with, you know?
Yeah. Mm.
And it sometimes gets very confusing because something can feel so good but be so wrong. Let me repeat, something can feel so good and be so wrong. I'll make an example. So let's say you meet someone and this person is very interesting, very funny, very exciting. You have to understand that sometimes a key will go into a lock, turn,
Yeah.
but not open the door.
Mm.
That's the same concept in life. When you find this person that's exciting you, they look the way you want people to look, they say the right things, the right clothes, but it's just like that key that goes into the lock and it turns, it doesn't actually unlock the door.
Mm.
Now the problem is, um, this could be you now trying to enter their life using your key, right? So now the key has gone in, you've twisted the key, but now the key is not unlocking. And this sometimes is when you find yourself in a relationship like there's something missing, like there's a level you just can't get to with this person. There's a degree of intimacy you can't get with this person. Even through conversations you can spend a lot of time with them, but at the back of your mind you're busy thinking, no man, there's something missing here and I just don't know what it is. And it sort of
Mm.
makes you redundant, not redundant, sorry, reluctant to fully commit, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, and the problem that I found, I'll just keep going and the analogies will just compile and it will explain everything, is that
Yeah.
we tend to force the situation. Sometimes we're in relationships that are not working, but because they felt good in the beginning, or we're still excited by the person, or they look good, or we believe that things will get better, we stay in those relationships and we keep trying to facilitate those relationships. So
Mm-hmm.
basically, now what we're doing is we are twisting our key and we're putting pressure on our key. It's gone in, it's twisted, but now it's not unlocking. And that could be you trying to enter someone's life and they're not literally letting you into their life, the important parts of their life, like what's going on behind closed doors, behind the
Mm.
lunches, behind the Instagram post, behind the fancy clothes, the good words, what's going on in their mind, what are they
Yeah.
thinking, how are they trying to make their lives better and your lives better, how are you as a unit moving forward, you know. They're not letting you
Mm.
into that space that you need to be to facilitate a healthy relationship. But now, because things felt so good and you feel so close, you keep putting pressure on your key, you keep twisting and twisting and twisting. And there's only one outcome to that, and that you break your key. You,
Mm.
which means you break a part of you, and that's now the representation of a failed relationship. But you don't know why it failed, because it felt so good or it felt so right, you know. Now
Yeah.
a part of you is broken. Now it could either be that both of you are affected negatively, or the one individual that was putting in the most effort was affected most. And
Mm-hmm.
you tend to see, in failed relationships, that one person was putting in more effort than the other, and the other, not to say that they weren't putting in effort, but they were sort of like just coasting through,
Mm.
you know. And they're not really
Yeah.
heavily affected at times, because they weren't really involved in the or committed to the relationship like that. And yeah, so you break your key, which means you break yourself, you know.
Mm.
And yeah, and people never really take time to recover from that. Now in the book, I use this key, the key, the analogy of a key, to say when you've broken your key, you've broken yourself. You've lost your characteristics, you've lost your traits, you've lost your core beliefs and ideologies. Another thing you have to understand: when you break your key, a part of it is left inside the lock. That
Mm.
means a part of you is left within that failed relationship.
Yeah.
A part of you that you can never get back. A part of you that you should never get back, because now that part of you is affected by the failure of that relationship, right?
Mm-hmm.
The part of you that is left within the old relationship is now full of insecurities, right? Is now full of doubt, is now full of negative energy on whether the following relationship will work. And that's why you have to leave it in your past, right?
Yeah.
But now, that part being left there, you are now incomplete as a person, you know? So now you have to,
Okay, explain.
yeah, you're incomplete as a person. Now you have to understand that a key is very intricate, right?
Mm.
It has to have the right bumps in the right places to be able to unlock a door.
Yeah.
I go back to what I said about a part of you is left in that relationship. Let's say now you've become this insecure person who does not trust easily, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
now you're trying to start another relationship. You're using a broken key to try open another lock. It won't open
Mm.
because now, like I said, the key is intricate. People are intricate. You need to
Yeah.
be in the right frame of mind, mental, physical, spiritual space to facilitate a healthy relationship. And if you're not in that space of mind, if your key is does not have the right grooves and bumps in the right places, it will not open that door. It does not matter how many times you try. So
Mm-hmm.
people now go into following relationships after that, and then those relationships fail and they wonder why, but they haven't addressed the situation of, my initial relationship failed. Did I take time to introspect and see the effects that that relationship had on me, fix where I was wrong, and sort of, put myself in the right space to be able to go into the next relationship, right?
Yeah.
Now, the problem here is that your key is broken, but not all is lost, right?
Mm-hmm.
There are two possibilities. You can either try fix the key in the sense that you can try retrieve the part and join them together, or you can replace the key.
Okay.
The problem with fixing the key is that, as I mentioned earlier, keys are very, very intricate. People are very, very intricate. If you go back to your past to try fix the problem, so you're now trying to come fix the relationship, right?
Okay.
That relationship was doomed for failure from the beginning, because when you come fix the key, it's the exact same key, just now with damage marks, because you can't fix something better than it was originally.
Mm.
You are somewhat feeling like your old self, because now you have the old part of you joined. You get what I'm saying? The part you left in there. But it
Yeah.
still
Yeah.
does
Yeah.
not it still does not change the fact that your key will not open that door.
Mm.
So you can remove yourself from that with your old parts. Try replace yourself, maybe get a weld, and try and move on to the next lock. But like I said, keys are very intricate. You will not fix your key to 100%. That key has very, very low chances of opening any lock for that matter.
Mm. Okay.
Uh, unless that lock is damaged itself. Do you get what I'm saying? Chances are a damaged key will open a damaged lock.
Okay.
But like, I don't want to go into that because that's a very, very deep topic. Maybe we can, touch on it towards the end. I just want to get this key and lock thing out of the way first.
All right.
The second thing I spoke about is getting a new key.
Mm.
Now, Every key has a code. If that code is what you will use to get your new key, that
Mm.
code represents your core principles, beliefs, and ideologies. That code is something that you should never, ever lose because that code represents who you are come rain, shine, or hail.
Mm.
Now you use that code to rebuild yourself. But before you rebuild yourself, you need to introspect on what exactly happened. What was wrong? Why couldn't we go to the next level? Chances
Mm.
are that there were issues or problems on both sides of the field.
Yeah.
It's not always a one-way street. I was wrong, you know, or they were wrong, I was right. It's a story of numbers, I can say. Okay, there was these issues, A, B, and C from their side, A, B, and C on my side. I'm gonna fix my issues
Yeah.
and try move on. If I need to apologize, I need to go apologize. If I need to go get clarity on what was happening here, this and that, I'm sorry for that. Why would you do that? It's very important for people to get clarity because clarity leads to closure.
Mm.
You can't move on without closure. So, like I said, you use the code to create your new key. And then you go forth and you try something else. But
Yeah.
now I've been speaking a lot about this key. Let me touch on this lock. The lock, I'd like to say the lock is part of a bigger unit, like a door, right?
Yeah.
So the
Mm.
lock is within this door. This door is obviously the gateway into your life or the
Mm.
gateway into someone else's life.
Yeah.
And this door is what we call the wall that people put up to sort of protect themselves from other people, right?
Yeah.
So when
Mm-hmm.
you start a conversation with someone, um, there's that wall that you have to get over before they start becoming comfortable around you. Now, there's many things that I can speak of um, in this wall, about this wall or about this lock. But the first is that locks are not the same. You can go to the market and buy a 3 rand lock, or you can go to, one of these security shops and you can buy 3,000 rand um, lock.
Mm.
The difference with that being every lock obviously has its particular key, and that will open that particular lock. But in the world that we live in, there are also generic locks.
Okay. Yeah. True.
Now, generic locks, the issue with generic locks is that other generic keys can open those
Open
generic
it.
locks. Right.
Mm.
So now a generic lock is a person who uses a generic criteria for the people they want to engage in their life. And I hear it quite a lot. They need to be good looking, this tool, have this, and that. What you're basically doing is you're creating a generic lock because there's nothing special or there's nothing unique in your criteria between the people
Yeah.
that you're engaging with.
Mm.
And I'm going to speak from a perspective of a young male. When you guys
Okay.
do that, you make it very easy for us to enter your lives because what you do is you literally just give us a checklist. And all we have to do is be a representation of that generic key, and we will enter your life.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the issue. Too many people have generic locks. I wouldn't say they lack the wisdom, they lack the time to sit down and actually find what they want in the other person. They lack, I don't know, the direction maybe.
Yeah.
There's too many people influenced by what this person is doing on Instagram.
Mm.
Now, I'm not here to call out names or shame anyone or whatever, but a lot of people around me, I don't know why, but they always posting maybe like Kim Kardashian or these major celebrities that are like in relationships, right? And they'll be writing
Mm-hmm.
relationship goals. Now, these
Yeah.
people are getting bought Ferraris, they're getting taken out to like really expensive restaurants and everything, champagne, hotel rooms. I have nothing wrong with that. If you have the money to facilitate those type of things, please go ahead.
Yeah.
But don't think that the indication of a healthy relationship are those things.
Mm.
Because we don't know if these people are talking when they're not in front of the camera.
Yeah.
We don't know if these people are happy when they're not in front of the camera. Now, the problem with us is that we take those things and create expectations for our relationships. So if I'm a female, I'm gonna expect to get taken out to the most expensive restaurants. I'm gonna expect 400 roses. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then I'm gonna take that and put it on Instagram, Twitter, and it's sort of like now a competition. Oh, my person can do this. Oh, I'm so happy.
Yeah.
If I'm a guy, I'm expecting the female to behave in some particular way. I'm expecting her to dress in some particular way. And that's not the story.
Mm.
Not everyone is made to be with a person like Kim Kardashian or now I'm no like I said, I'm no expert. So but society believes that these are quite attractive young or people. They are quite attractive people,
Mm-hmm.
but sometimes
Yeah.
you got to look beyond just physical attraction, beyond looks, just on the other side of the hill, because what you're doing is you're creating again this generic lock.
Mm.
And for people our age, I'd say the youth, is that that's how these relationships are formed on generic
Mm.
locks. And unfortunately, if you're going to use a generic lock, people are going to break into your house or break into your life. And when people
Yeah.
break into your house, they're not there to congratulate you or have a party. They're there to destroy.
Yeah.
So if someone uses a generic key to open your generic lock, you better know they came to destroy your life. That's when we have statements of, I got played. How could I not see this coming? I don't blame
Mm.
you. I mean, we become gullible as we chase, this thing, what they call love or affection or whatever. Um, we become very gullible and we don't see the warnings right in front of our faces. And it's sad, because, um, like I say, I'm speaking from a male perspective. Yeah, from my perspective, my personal perspective, I believe guys really, really, they really know how to mess up someone's life,
Mm-hmm.
because we sort of taught um, how to be a generic key. During conversations with other guys, to listen, you just have to do A, B, and C, and she'll do this, this, and that. And as the things were said, if I buy you this, take you here, and you posting it and your friends are hyping you, I'm done. you know
Yeah.
Not to say
Uh-huh.
that obviously females are innocent as well, because they know exactly what to do to turn, you know, the keys within a man, and they can like, especially if like it's someone who's got a lot of resources in terms of like finances and other things, and they want to
Mm-hmm.
be in their life, they can also do a lot of things to put themselves in those positions. So people need to take time to work on their locks, you know and it's all
Yeah.
about self value. You won't you won't go to a scrapyard and find the most expensive lock because they don't value much on what's on the other side of the door. But if you
Mm.
go to a bank, if you go to a place where they're holding gold, they have the most intricate locks out there because they value what's behind the door.
Yeah.
Now, people, this is again my perspective. Value what's behind the door. That's you. That's your life. So if you value what's behind the door, you will take time to create that intricate lock. You will make it difficult for people just to enter your life because you know that once they've entered your life, they have the capability and the ability to either affect you in a positive or negative way. But because you
Mm.
know that behind the door is something of high value, the lock itself must be high value.
Mm.
Yeah, that's just on the variations of locks. Generic lock, generically, I think I've summed that up. I've summed that up. So yeah, so I think that this thing lays on a lot of introspection.
Mm.
And a very good friend of mine, interestingly enough, I was writing the book, and I always engage with people, ask them, what do you think about the book? Is it coming along well? And they said to me, um, Libo, I think the problem is people don't understand the difference between dating and being in a relationship. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
what? No, these things are the
Yeah.
same. They're like, no, they're not the same. Dating is when you're going through, talking to people, engaging, trying to find the person that you're going to be in a relationship with.
Okay.
I was like, whoa, damn. And then when you're in a relationship is when you are fully committed and one person and all of that. And they were like, and this is a female. She's like, the problem is we've blurred the lines between dating and relationship. We are doing everything that one would do when they're in a relationship while we're still dating. And I
Mm.
think the biggest thing for me, or the biggest issue that I would find in sort of blurring the lines, especially for young people, is sexual intercourse.
Yeah.
Now, this is due to the fact that now, while you're trying to discover whether this person is trustworthy enough or worth your time during the dating process, you are sexually involved with them.
Mm-hmm.
And that sort of blurs the lines, you know? And that sort of
Mm.
gets people confused because when things don't work out, it sort of leads to that, oh, I got played, or you used me, this, and that.
Mm.
Now, we have to understand that there are some people that take advantage of that specific confusion. Let me speak from a male's perspective because I'm a male. So for a male, if the female or the lady is confused on whether we are dating or within a relationship, that's perfectly fine for me because that means we can do everything that we want to do. She might be under the impression that we're in a relationship, but to me, I'm only facilitating dating.
Okay.
Now, obviously, this does not encapsulate people who have specific agreements between each other. I'm saying people who just openly just meet and they did not set any limitations. If you set limitations, you say, okay, we can only go this far, then it's perfectly fine with you. You can do whatever you want. But if people were engaging in the process of being in a relationship, they should, yeah, they should put some type of boundaries within their dating period, especially if they're going to um they're going to facilitate interest between different people,
Mm-hmm.
so that we make sure that people are not played or anything of that manner. And that to me, I'm still even trying to conceptualize that onto paper because that to me was like so profound. I'm like, maybe we've been doing it all wrong all along, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I've been calling myself, I always say, people who know me know I always say, I'm old school, you know? Um, but again, I'm not perfect. I'm at fault at many of the things that I speak about in this podcast, and I have to be honest about those things and just try be as honest as possible so I can give an accurate perspective of the situation that we currently find ourselves in.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
um, yeah. So like, just that's just the the topic of the lock and key, and there's obviously going to be more in the book. I don't want to obviously reveal too much, but there's another topic that I want to touch on with the lock and key scenario.
And that brings us to the end of part 1 of the lock and the key. I hope you found that very insightful and interesting. Again, a lot of, things to take in, perspectives to, just kind of analyze and scrutinize. But I definitely hope you guys did enjoy, and I most definitely hope you guys do tune in to next week as we head on over to part 2 of the lock and key continued. And as Libo just, continues to share, again, some very interesting views and perspectives on relationships. And I just wanted to mention that should you have any, inputs, any comments that you'd like to make, please do be sure to hit me up in the DM at RealTalkRadiowG on Instagram if you want to come on and just give, a listener's engagement, listener's insight on what has been said today and next week. So yeah, definitely hit me up and be like, yo G, I want to come here with my counter arguments and whatever the case may be. So thank you once again for tuning in, and definitely hope you guys tune in once again next week.